What should you do if you don't have a retirement plan available to you at work? 50% of workers don't have one. I've got that and more coming up. My name's Mike Bernardo, the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. Check out this article, guys. Approximately 56% of the American workforce does not have access to an employer-sponsored retirement plan. If you would have asked me, hey, what's my hunch? I would have said maybe 30%, 25 to 30%. And obviously, as a certified financial planner on a team of about 80 financial professionals and a full team of CFPs, we work with a skewed segment of the population. Even those of you fans of the Wise Money Show, listening to this and absorbing this content, you're a minority in that you're out there seeking financial wisdom. And so that means of those, those of you that are out there seeking financial wisdom, how many of you then are making great strides in your financial life? Probably a disproportionate, a lot, right? In a higher amount than the overall average. So the average, 50% of people don't have access to a retirement plan through work. Now, it's interesting, this article then kind of broke it down based on segment of the country. Florida, we all want to live in Florida. Of course, the weather is just unbelievable, and the attractions, and I don't know how you'd get any work done, actually. So almost 70% of Floridians that are in the workforce don't have access to a workplace retirement plan. Here in the Midwest, which is where I'm from, that's the kind of the area of the country that has the best chance of having access to a retirement plan at work, over 50%, about 50%. I wonder, and I didn't see the data break it down specifically, but I wonder if this is, well, these workers are not yet eligible, otherwise they would have access to one. I'm not sure. I guess I'm just thinking Florida specifically, there's more, it's more of a destination. So there's more touristy, there's more retail sort of engagements, maybe not as much sort of desks, careers and that sort of thing that you'd expect here in the Midwest. So maybe that's the difference, I don't know. Regardless, what should you do if you don't have a 401k workplace retirement plan available to you at work? If you happen to be an employer, okay, there has not been a better time to open a 401k or a retirement plan at work than there is right now. Truly, this is the best time to do it if you haven't done so. Obviously, the labor market is still very competitive, so you want to offer as many benefits as possible, but there are typically some costs associated with opening a plan, having a 401k plan, and then if you're going to offer a match and make it an attractive feature, then obviously there's a cost to that as well. Guys, if you're eligible, through the Secure Act 2.0, you can essentially open a plan for free, even get your company match, your employer match, completely free as a tax credit. It's unbelievable. I would have never expected to see these, as taxpayers that are paying for it, so I shouldn't get too excited, but if you run a business, own a business, have employees, and you don't have a 401k plan, now is the time you've got to talk to a retirement plan specialist. Talk through the pros and cons, what's available to you via these tax credits and this new incentive program, and consider getting one in place. All right, that tangent aside. Now, if you are a worker, if you're an employee and you don't have a 401k available to you at work, what should you do? It's still on you. It's still your responsibility to save up, I would argue, 15% of your paycheck towards retirement, 50% of your income. If you don't have a plan at work, you're not going to be able to have that money completely taken right out of your paycheck. So I'd think of it more of 15% of your income as opposed to from each paycheck, although hopefully you can budget and plan for that accordingly. So it's still on you. So what tools should you use? Number one, I would be contributing to that Roth IRA or traditional IRA if you need that tax deduction. Because you don't have a 401k available to you at work or a retirement plan available to you at work, you can make as much money as possible, as you want, and still be eligible to contribute to an IRA pre-tax and get that deduction if you need it. If you don't need that deduction or would rather have those dollars grow tax-free and have all the growth on that tax-free out there in the future, then I would be doing that Roth IRA. Make sure that you're eligible. Your income needs to be below certain limits, but for most people, you can fund a Roth IRA. Now, the limits on this, $6,500 per year right now is the limit for 2023 to contribute to an IRA or Roth IRA, or you can blend it up between the two, but that's the total aggregate limit between IRA and Roth IRA. If you're age 50 or older or turning age 50 or older this year, you can add an extra $1,000 to that as well. And you might look and say, well, that's not 15% of my income. That's not going to cut it. Well, do that at the very least. Then max it out to the fullest and then go on to a few of these other strategies. What beyond that could you consider if you don't have a 401k available to you at work? Well, do you have a high deductible health plan, an HSA eligible high deductible health plan? If you do, then I would be funding that HSA, and I would view that HSA as a retirement savings tool, not as a health insurance or copay or deductible an account instead. We've talked about it before, that HSA, and most people view it this way, that, well, how much do I think I'm going to have in out-of-pocket medical expenses? Okay, I'll contribute that to my HSA, and then when those expenses come up, prescriptions, copays, deductible, that sort of stuff, I'll just use my HSA for it. But you actually have the ability to contribute up to a certain maximum amount each year. The IRS sets that limit. So you can max fund your HSA, as opposed to just thinking, well, how much might I have in medical expenses? And then when you have medical expenses, pay for those out of pocket. Leave the money in your HSA, and because now you're leaving that money in your HSA for the long term, treating it like retirement, you could invest those dollars. Okay, and you might say, wait a second, this sounds awful. Why would I do that? Because that HSA, the growth on it would be tax sheltered. All right, so that sounds like a retirement plan. And then you can, out there in retirement, pull money out of your HSA and reimburse yourself for all those out-of-pocket medical expenses that you paid out of pocket instead of from your HSA, and pull those dollars out tax-free in retirement. So, interested, right? That seems very appealing. Further beyond that, what if you say, well, I'm going to have a lot more in my HSA than I could reimburse myself for. Well, you'll have medical expenses in retirement, so you can use that money tax-free for that. And if you say, well, I still have excess money in my HSA, once you turn 65, you can draw money out of that HSA and use it for any purpose. Would not be penalized. It would be taxable if it's not for an eligible medical expense, but that's just like an IRA anyway. So again, if you don't have a 401k available to you at work, I'd fund that IRA or that Roth IRA, one of the two. And if you also have an HSA, a high deductible health plan, then I would consider funding your HSA as well. All right, and then finally, what if you've already done the IRA or the Roth IRA and you don't have an HSA available and you're still saying, I need to save more? Mike, you're telling me I should be saving at least 15% of my income. I don't have a 401k to make that super convenient, so then what should I use? Well, guys, then just use a brokerage account, an individual account, a joint account if you're married, a non-IRA, non-401k type of account. These are extremely flexible. You can open them just about anywhere, working with your CFP, of course. And the good news is there's no limit on how much you can throw into this account. So no matter what your income is, 15% of it can go into this account, no matter how much that is or how little that is, okay? The bad news is that money and that activity in there, those investments, are not tax sheltered. So therefore, you're going to have a 1099, a little tax form that you're going to have to report some interest, dividends, maybe even some capital gains on your tax return. But that's okay. If you don't have any other tax shelters available, or you've exhausted all of their tax shelters, then use this. It's still your retirement. And even if you don't have a 401k, you can reach there, you can get there, you can get to that confident retirement by saving up into this non-qualified, non-tax sheltered account. Most people, because it doesn't have those limitations, those IRS limitations where, you can't touch this until 59 and a half, they treat these like short-term accounts. Well, I'll invest for a little bit, and if it makes money, then I'll pull the money out. And if I invest a little bit and I lose money, then I'll pull it out as well because I must not be good at this. No. Still view it as a long-term investment and have the right investment strategies that maybe complement your Roth IRA or your other retirement funds. But treat this like a long-term investment, even though it's not as tax sheltered and doesn't have the limitations as the 401k and the Roth IRAs would. So whether or not you have a 401k available to you at work, it's still your retirement, and you can get there. You can fund other accounts and at the right levels and reach that confident retirement that you've been planning for with your CFP. So work with your CFP on that. If you don't have a CFP on your team, you can contact one on my team. Find us online, Korhorn.com. That's Korhorn with K, wisemoneyshow.com. You can find us there as well, or send us an email, info@korhorn.com. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.